Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Pastor Talk. We're super happy that you're here today. We've got some loose ends to clean up, don't we?
Loose ends.
Some loose ends, some things that we're in the pipeline, ready to,
Yeah, loose ends like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, just mopping up little things.
Just mopping up some things. Yeah, it's it's been a chaotic. It feels to me, maybe not to everyone else. Maybe it's just me. I feel it's been a little chaotic. We've had a lot going on as a church. Maybe a lot of people don't know that, but you and I hear all the time, and there's just been stuff going on. So I think I let a ball drop. I think we mentioned it, and then I didn't remember it. That on Christmas Eve morning.
Yes, the 10 a.m. service.
The 10 a.m.
morning. Mm-hmm.
That we had talked about everybody bringing in a canned good or whatever for Lawton Elementary. And I think it was just and then it went away because I never mentioned it again. So,
yeah. Well, the great thing is the folks in our administrative, our secretarial, and those folks, administrative folks, have all the publicity's gone out. There's been some promotion of it. You and I just have not talked about it, and it's a great thing. I mean, we've had some huge wins already with people saying that they wanted to help restock the pantry.
Exactly.
We've had some good donations and things, but for all of us to be involved, for all of us to kind of pull together, we're kind of 11th hour asking folks to prayerfully consider bringing some canned goods or some dry goods to help us replenish because us and our community is just really generous. So the pantries have given out a lot. So we want to make sure they're well stocked for the first of the year so folks can help out with that, especially the Lawton pantries. Yeah,
and we talked about, I think we talked about it on here, actually, is where we talked about it.
Probably did.
In the very beginning of Advent season. But the children, there are a lot of families in the schools that we don't even think about. We see, I know they're in school and we don't know what they're going home to. Some of them have difficult circumstances. So I don't know if there is a general list anywhere. Do you know? I didn't think about that before we came on.
I don't think we have a general list that I saw us putting in print. But, always cereal.
Yeah, okay.
Always dry goods, beans, rice.
Peanut butter, I think.
Peanut butter, jelly. So those kind of staples are always in season for us.
Perfect. So, so what we want to do, and the reason being, yes, it's Advent. Yes, it's a time of giving. But also what we're going to be talking about on Sunday, it goes with that theme, which the traditions, the old and the new, and the old tradition of gift giving. So I thought it would be a really nice touch for us to just be thinking like that when we come in our pajamas. To talk about giving gifts to others and bringing food in. And you're wearing pajamas, aren't you?
Yeah. I don't know.
You should go get some of Dustin's. Just wear some. If you don't have any, then go.
I'm sure I've got some Victoria's Secret laying around somewhere.
Go get some pajamas and sweatpants or whatever.
Yeah. Well, like I said to you guys earlier, I said I've got the same basic stuff I've been sleeping in for 30 years that I don't think anybody wants to see. So we'll figure out something.
Well, and the premise behind that is one of the new traditions is family pictures on Christmas, and people wear their matching pajamas and they take family pictures. So I thought it would be fun if everybody wore their pajamas and we can take a family picture of all of us. So that's why.
Have you seen, speaking of pictures, have you seen our church's Facebook page today? People are having way too much fun.
I don't.
Putting their families, ridiculing their children.
And the babies crying. It's awesome, which is my favorite thing. Yeah.
I think we're going to be putting them into the slideshow before the Christmas Eve service.
Oh, that's awesome.
Lainey is just, she's kind of taking that on.
That's awesome.
I think we're going to have some entertaining people they're going to be entertained when they discover their pictures are up there. So.
That's what you get when you put it on a public Facebook page.
That's right.
We're going to use it. So speaking of, we have 2 services. Just a reminder, 5 p.m. is the family service. 7 p.m. is the traditional service. Both services will have candle lighting. There's tons of good music and things going on in both services. We have is like a little surprise at 5. A couple little things we're doing.
Couple little surprises at 5. Yeah.
Couple little things. But I love, our Christmas Eve. It's always fun, but it's always very worshipful as well.
Yeah. Well, we've had a beautiful season. The campus is gorgeous, and as it always is, and had such a great time this year just getting started with the decorating, the hanging of the greens.
That's right.
We've never done it that way. So really, this has been, with this series, anticipating Christmas and everything, it's been very special. Right from, you mentioned that somebody talking to you about the privilege. Oh, I'm sorry. So the privilege of being able to be a part of decorating the sanctuary and stuff. And so it has really been meaningful. Now we've got, did we talk about gingerbread?
We haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah. So, and the children's program. So go ahead. You got the dates and the time.
Well, so this Friday at 5:30, it starts with the children's pageant / program in the main sanctuary. And then after that, all the kids will move to the gymnasium where they will make some gingerbread men. They're not doing houses.
No, they're doing the cookies. We started that last year, and it went over so well because as soon as they finish decorating them and we give them a prize for it or an award, then they eat them. And they've never been able to eat them with the houses before. So now,
they gobble them on up. That's perfect.
Nobody goes home with anything.
Yes. And just, I know that there's so much, that everybody is anticipating Christmas and thinking about that, but we do have church the following weekend. New Year's Eve is a Sunday. So we're having our regular worship times, 8, 9:30, and 11.
Right.
And then that Saturday we are having what did you call it?
We're doing something
Dinner.
a little different because we, Saturday night kind of builds the service around hospitality and sharing food, kind of an Acts 2 dinner church. So we're going to kind of minimize the musical element and kind of maximize the fellowship element. So there'll be a message, but we're going to be around tables, breaking bread. And so looking forward to that.
Yeah. I think that's great. And I have a question because I wanted to and I don't want to keep people too long, but regarding the sermon series, did you hear about anybody taking the test, the gorilla that walked through? Because that's what the sermon was about. It was about testing. And are you going to see the gorilla walking through the basketball test or not? Did you pass that?
So you gave it to me in your office, and if the goal was seeing the gorilla, I totally failed it. I choose to believe that the goal was how intensely can you focus on what you've been asked to do. So I passed with flying colors because I told her she was a complete liar when she said there was a gorilla in the video. I'm like, no, there wasn't. So,
I did this.
I either completely passed it or completely failed it.
Exactly.
Whichever.
It depends on which percent.
Yeah.
So Scott's in the room right now. Scott, did you take the test? Did you pass it? Did you see the gorilla or did you get the 15? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I knew some people had seen it. So those who had seen it, they were good. They didn't tell their neighbor. They let their neighbor fail the test or pass. So anyway, but we're finishing up. This series has been the Anticipating Christmas series. And last week I talked about what it means to become like Christ and how that our trials form us and help us become more like Christ. I'm using Joseph as the text for that in his life. This weekend, we are doing the last one of that series, which is Bless. So do you have any thoughts about that before?
So it's what was really interesting is the way we constructed this is you talked about Joseph and his role in the story, which was so deeply meaningful for me when I was writing a Bible study for it. And this week we're talking about Mary and her interaction, not so much the interaction with the angel, but her interaction with Elizabeth. And what's interesting to me is just like no one would interpret Joseph, no one in that culture would have said Joseph's call from God to marry Mary anyway. None of that would have looked like blessing. So now we're dealing with Elizabeth and Mary, and why is that? How is that blessing? I mean, to have your whole life turned upside down and inside out. And so I'm going to be spending some time talking about how the opportunity that they had to bless each other ended up helping them live into the blessing that was God's will for their life. And to be able to say, God, if I don't want what you want, then I don't belong to you. So, Mary kind of lives into that. But Elizabeth really helps her do that. I mean, we forget. I mean, we don't forget, but I think we downplay. I'm actually going to talk about this in the sermon. We've kind of cleaned up and sanitized and beautified. This was a 14-year-old this was a 9th grade girl.
Yeah. Right.
Asked to wrap her mind around all of this. And we talk about how faithful she was and how, she was raised in that. But it's still overwhelming. And how she goes and, immediately, hurriedly, Luke says, goes to her cousin who's 2 generations older than her.
Yeah.
And they just begin to talk. And out of that conversation, Mary completely lives into what she's been called to do.
This just occurred to me is that both of the women that are there, when Mary starts talking, it says that the Holy Spirit, like John as a baby, was like filled with the Spirit. But both of them, John and Jesus, lost their lives. And it's weird when you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah, except for the fact that, one of the things, and I don't have as much time to go into it that I would love to if I could just preach for an hour on this text, is look at the women who raised them. I mean, we think Jesus is God's son, so he's going to turn out great. Well, he got raised. Somebody raised him. And clearly John was raised by this woman who the humility and the blessing that she is for Mary, we completely see that in the relationship between John and Jesus. Yeah. Here's John. Everybody's coming out to see him. Yeah. He's a big deal. Everybody's getting baptized by him. And he keeps telling them, even as they're being blessed by him, he keeps going, I'm not worthy. There's one coming after me. And then when Jesus actually shows up, he just completely backs up and gives Jesus the room to, and of course Jesus kneels before him and receives baptism. But,
it is crazy, isn't it?
This beauty of the humbleness of the interaction between Mary and Elizabeth that I see being replicated in the interaction between Jesus and John.
And they were even though 3 months apart, they were the same age. Yeah. These were young men too. Like not only were Mary was super young. I mean, the whole age thing is interesting to me, but when they went into ministry, both of them were about the same age, but they were 30-ish, and young men who were doing amazing things. It's all interesting. I'm excited to hear it. I mean, this has been a great series.
I'm excited to hear it too. I can't wait to have it until it's done being written.
Well, I was thinking, we have 3 services on Sunday, and they're all completely different.
Completely different.
It's, I guess it's what we do. I don't know.
It is what we do. It's what we do.
Yeah. But that's, I think that's all. Do you have anything else that we need to remind people about?
No, just stay in the social media. We put stuff out constantly so that you know what's coming, and all we can do is provide it for you. So please, make sure you don't miss things because you're not being attentive to that. And my daughter Lainey, who's our youth director, who's an incredible blessing, talks often about the church is the fireplace, but the family is the thermostat. Mm-hmm. We've got to get people have to decide that they want to be blessed. And so hopefully you'll be doing that through social media and all the other announcements. And yeah.
We have the information. Oh, and also we still have our Advent calendar up on our website.
Yes.
So you can still continue doing that. And Thursday, tomorrow, there'll be another children's activity. And then we'll be right into Christmas.
Yeah, the daily will till Christmas Day. That's the last day that we're on the 24-day Advent calendar. So, yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I have. And if you're good to go, let's go get to work, okay?
Yeah.
All right. See you guys later.